What's up, Junkies? Welcome back in for another wonderful edition of Pigskin Junkies. Myself, Micah Larson, the big brother Jared Larson, and Scott Panza here to talk about football and the pigskin. But a new form of football has blessed our lives, ladies and gentlemen, in the form of the Alliance of American Football. And boy, oh boy, did it take the world by storm. Beating out... I believe it was the NBA primetime game of the night, the Orlando Apollos and the Legends, or depending on what side of the country you're on. But drawing higher ratings, which, yes, you can say is, we'll see how it pans out, and I agree, because when the Threes League started on FS1, that had a huge initial rating. But this just shows you how horny Americans are for football, and it was awesome. I loved all of it, especially because the Apollos and just absolutely handled the Atlanta Legends. Spurrier was awesome. I loved when they had him mic'd up and he said, catch the ball this time. But Scott, your Birmingham Iron came out and posted the only shutout of the weekend against the Express.
They look good. Don't sleep on my man, Luis Perez. He looked sharp. They got a squad over there. They play some real defense, but you know, they were very fortunate to play
Memphis Blows.
Memphis Express, coached by Mike Singletary, who's definitely going to take this league by storm and cement his spot into another NFL job, for sure.
Can't win with
zero. Yeah, I should play. I want to play that like all the time when I see him on the sidelines.
Oh man. I'll tell you, I forgot who tweeted this, but they had such a good point. Like, when you're Christian Hackenberg and you're 6'7" and you played at Penn State, and if by now every team in the NFL's passed on you and said, you know what, you're not good enough, you're probably not going to be good enough in this league either. Because you've been dissected head to toe. You're 6'7", you're what every team in the NFL wants. And every team's like, you know what, we'd rather have Nathan Peterman.
And you're definitely not going to get any better under Singletary. Like 0% chance.
No. He's a defensive guy, and he's definitely not a good coach.
Singletary has single-handedly the most terrifying quote of like NFL films history ever for me, and it's he blows up this play in the backfield and just comes back and goes, "Woo! I like this kind of party." And I'm like, this guy would literally murder me, like, and smile at me as he did it. But I'll give the score recaps here real quick. Commanders 15, the Fleet of San Diego 6. Still just hysterical to me that they go from having an NFL team to now this. But anywho, Apollo's absolutely murking in Steve Spurrier's fashion, putting up a whopping 40 points. Atlanta only scoring 6. As mentioned, the Birmingham Iron 26, the Memphis Express 0, and the Hot Shots taking down the Stallions. I can't remember the cities for that one, but the Hot Shots win 38-22.
Arizona versus Salt Lake Stallions. That was the battle for the best mascot in the league.
That's right.
And the Hot Shots won.
The Hot Shots are hot.
Hold on, you guys. Rick Neuheisel, he was a college coach. What controversy did he get in? Why he's not a college coach anymore?
Oh,
he was at UCLA for forever. He was at Washington. Big Pac-12 guy. I don't know what the controversy was, but
didn't he get drunk or something? And there was like pictures about it.
Are you sure that's not Steve Sarkisian?
I was gonna say that's Steve Sarkisian at USC.
No. I'm pretty sure Rick Neuheisel got canned in college for being like a drunk. Am I making this up?
I don't think so, but that was before our time. I'd have to jam it in the old Google machine to find out. But yeah, he was at Washington, then he was at UCLA.
Oh yeah, hold on.
He was big. He put this ad in the LA Times saying like our town when UCLA had and has sucked for like 2 decades, and USC has just crushed them in like every sense of the word. And then he was there for like 3 years and got fired. So I don't.
Yeah, Rick Neuheisel, this is from 2003, fired for personal vices.
Strip club.
Vices plural. That's nice. I like
He
that.
took part in an
Not just
NCAA betting pool. All right, so that's good.
So we got to get him on the
New world
pod.
order. Yeah.
Yeah, let's get him on. Let's get him on the show here.
No, but, their
yeah,
quarterback looked good. Wake Forest kid.
Yeah. They so we didn't get to see. So Scott, you'll have to, because one, the biggest takeaway for me is actually from the app, where I was able to watch quite a bit of it, both with the little football helmets, but also some live action. I definitely see that in the NFL's future. That is a fantastic app. For degens like us.
Yeah.
And Scott, what was that interview with the creator where he was talking about their partnership with MGM, and you're picking run or pass just for shits and giggles now, but that's a ticking time bomb until deposit here, and you're going click 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 with the $10 bills, or the $20 bills, or whatever.
I think in the short run, it's just like you're pretty much betting for like virtual coins, and then eventually they're going to roll it out. But it was Charlie Ebersol Jr. with this law professor from Villanova, and we should tweet it out because I actually emailed the law professor because it was actually great content, but kind of got me fired up about some of the things that I was really upset about the AAF from the beginning of the season. There was no fantasy leagues. So ESPN, Yahoo, no fantasy leagues. I couldn't do any fantasy. There was no draft.com, didn't have best ball for this. So pretty much it was really difficult. So impossible to do fantasy, which I think is a huge oversight for them because that's, degens like us want to get in all the fantasy. And another thing that really upset me is they didn't air the scrimmages the weekend before the Super Bowl when everyone's dying for football. Screw the Pro Bowl. I'm sorry, I know, or it was in Orlando. It's probably gorgeous.
Screw it.
That was gross.
They could have given us the scrimmages so we had a better way to handicap week one. Everyone's just guessing. By the end of the weekend, we were just praying for unders, which is the most un-American thing to do. And then, they really don't have any beat reporters covering these teams, so you really don't know what's going on in the locker room. You really don't know what any of these coaches' strategy is going to be. And I'm surprised some of these coaches haven't tried to have a more creative – I mean, the Hotshots had a pretty creative offense, and the Apollos did as well. But, when you're Christian Hackenberg and you're 3 of 11 in the first half, why is Zach Mettenberg or any of these other quarterbacks getting in the mix? I know you want to give them, some way of getting in the groove, but obviously he stinks, and maybe this is a great opportunity for keeping the defense off balance by switching up your quarterbacks and having a very unconventional offense, because none of these guys are really going to tear the cover off the ball, I imagine. But I don't know. That was one of the things that disappointed me. It seemed like a lot of vanilla football instead of the Apollos got creative and the Hotshots got creative.
Well, a couple things I would say to that. First one is Scotty was hot about the no rules.
Oh my God, that's another thing. Holy shit. AAF.
His collar was hot.
I emailed every AAF email address on their website. We tweeted at them relentlessly. Can we just get the rules? I know some asshole is there reading my email saying, ha, 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 I'm not going to send them the rules. Because blew my mind. I did not realize that only 5 guys could rush the quarterback unless it's a play-action pass. Something like that is really good to know. And even despite that, the offensive lines looked awful. The San Diego Fleet offensive line was getting torched the whole time.
Yeah, worst case scenario, it's man on man.
Yeah.
5 offensive linemen, you can't rush more than 5 people. You should not be getting beat that bad. But
somehow San Diego, despite all that, is a 9.5-point favorite this weekend. I mean, these are too many points to give it. I don't know.
I do think there's an overreaction. I would agree.
That's his offense going.
Yeah, for me, I think. And it definitely played out this way in week 1, but I think we'll see it. We'll see if that trend or theme continues, but. Really, the way I look at it is the talent on all these teams is more or less the same. No one has really had enough time to gel, which is why I think you saw a lot of the offenses struggle outside of some pretty good offensive minds. I'm sure Micah loved it as well. But here in Spurrier, mic'd up is like just awesome. And I think, coaches like him, I expect March. I was very surprised that March's team only, what did they score, 6 points?
6 points. That was the game that I had on Saturday.
Yeah, poor guy. You got 15-6. We got 40. Bloodbath. I don't think Atlanta's coach is any good. I've already mentioned what I feel about Memphis. There will be some teams that I look to pick on based on their head coaching situation or lack thereof.
Like, there's no home field advantage either because all these games, like, none of the stadiums were filled. I mean, Birmingham had an interesting crowd, but, because they have a really small stadium and you felt like you were on top of the players. But, I mean, it was probably like 40% capacities from what I saw. I don't know what it looked like in the Orlando game.
No.
But there's no home field.
It was raining, too, on Saturday, I think.
Yeah, it was raining.
Yeah.
And it's just the play clock's shorter. I think it's more of a flow game. I don't think home field advantage would be assigned the traditional 2.5 to 4 points that you see in the NFL, and in some instances higher in college. I think it's much less than that. Teams can communicate. You don't have to worry about those mega jailhouse blitzes against a snap count. So there's some nuances that I think are advantageous for both teams when it comes to some of the rules.
So if I'm a coach, like, I'm thinking I want to hurry up every offensive drive. And if you can rotate your offensive line and if you can even rotate your quarterback so they're always fresh because the play clock is condensed, I think that's going to be a great move because the defense are going to get smoke tired and there's not going to be a lot of depth on the defensive side of the ball. So if you can just keep them tired and keep it rolling, you're probably going to be at an advantage. But that's my 2 cents there.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how the totals break down over the course of. I mean, 10 games is still certainly not a huge sample size, but over the course of the season, because I agree with you, Scott. I think shorter play clock, less rotation, not nearly the depth that you have on an NFL roster. I think you'll see quite a bit of wear down from these defenses as the game and then consequently the games and the season progress. I think you're going to see a lot more points in the second halves than you are in the first.
Yeah, so I think overall we can all come to an agreement that the opening weekend for the AAF was a success, yes?
Yes, overwhelming success.
Yes. So USA Today even came out and said the Alliance is quality football featuring a lot of young talent, which I think is good for them because, like Jared and I had mentioned, it's almost the merging of two worlds of these young college stars that may not be big enough, strong enough, fast enough for the NFL. You can still see them play college ball. Now, I have to say, I saw one of the greatest headlines for an article that I've ever seen on the AAF website, which is, when it comes to attendance, Fleet asking for all hands on deck. And I want to find out whoever that guy was, and I want to give him a raise. Now, speaking of the Fleet, really what put AAF on the map was QB Mike Berkovich, Berkovicki, I don't know how you say his last name, former Arizona State quarterback, running around like the headless horseman out there because he got absolutely blew to smithereens by Shane Washington of the San Antonio, whatever the heck their team is, but from San Antonio.
Commanders.
Whatever.
Commanders.
Lit him up like the 4th of July, and that was awesome. And every American that sits on their couch in Southeast America and pisses and moans about, they don't let you hit in the NFL, saw that play and went, I am a huge AAF fan, and I bet you they drove from frickin' Auburn, Alabama up to Birmingham just to see actual football in their minds at good old Legion Field.
Yeah.
Legion Field is where they used to play the Iron Bowl, Scott, for many years, and then they went back to home and home. I agree. I mean, and that's so. I actually was having this conversation with my wife. She's like, "Is this semi-pro?" I'm like, "No, they're paid. It's like AAA baseball, like the best way that I can describe it." And they did a really nice job before the broadcast with Kurt Warner talking about it. He's like, "There's a million reasons why some dude doesn't pan out in college and just doesn't make it to the team or the league. There's nowhere for them to go. So like even like a guy like Denard Robinson who gets some run and then is, doing whatever he's been doing for the last 2 years since he's had a contract. This is a place where someone that obviously has talent and has captivated an audience in the past gets a chance to do so again.
Mm-hmm.
There was a linebacker on I think the Fleet, AJ Shapley. He was in the NFL. He was playing for the Bills, retired, went to work on Wall Street for a couple of years, and is like, screw this. And he went back, and now he's in the AAF. So, I forgot. I didn't realize Denard Robinson was in the AAF. And
he's a running back for Atlanta.
That explains why they sucked.
Yeah, so they
their coach
got
is
some
awful,
real
but
creativity to get him going this weekend.
I don't think he played more than 2 or 3 plays in a row. Like I think these guys, there's some of these guys that like you can see got a little donut hanging around their belly because they've been hanging out a little too much, but and they're trying to work themselves back into shape. The Atlanta coach just is not good. There were some clock management issues, some kicking is for losers for my friend John Murray, and a couple other things where I'm just like, dude, it's not Chris Sims, it's the other Sims,
Blake,
son of Phil.
No,
I don't know his first name. Whoever the kid is went to he's their quarterback, and he
was bad.
He looked bad too.
I thought Chris Sims was like, I'm done being a broadcaster.
Matt Sims. Matt
Sims, yes.
Yeah,
Matt
all
Sims.
These guys. So they got a 6'2" guy from Holy Cross, a 6'1" guy from Georgia, and a 6'3" Matt Sims from Tennessee.
I like. What'd you say? A 6-foot guy from Georgia?
Yeah.
I love that
Yeah,
because he was a absolute stud in college, and it just cracks me up that you have no idea who Aaron Murray is.
I've never heard of him.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. That should tell all the college football fans, hear that and are like, I've never heard of Aaron Murray. It's like, all right, that tells you everything you need to know. Scott is NFL, AAF.
I'm not making it up, guys. I just can't get into college. I'm not making it up.
Some dude from Georgia.
I saw
in
that.
Scott's defense, that roster is 70% Georgia players.
Yeah.
The Atlanta team. It's like all these retreads from Georgia that weren't good enough to make it in the NFL.
34, and they're getting 10 against a team that just put up 6 points. So,
dude, they are bad. I'm talking really bad.
You would think that all these teams are relatively even, and then you're just saying that 10 points is coaching discrepancy. Now, one of the coaches in that game this weekend has been in the Super Bowl, and one hasn't. So is that worth 10 points? Because the quarterbacks for the Fleet look terrible.
Well, I agree with you that I think there's been some serious overreaction based on one game. So I'll probably be taking points frequently this weekend, just as a function of, it's only one game and people are going to have seen that and overreact. And, it's still very early. The bookmakers if we are emailing directly to the league and not getting the information, the chances that the bookmakers have a material amount of information more than we do is very unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
It's I just can't get over how they wouldn't respond to my emails, and I was doing my best to not even be mean, but I really wanted to send something very nasty about the incompetence of the league, that they can't even send around the rules on a new league, but I held back. But
did you write the email and then delete it after you wrote it?
I wrote the email. If you go in my inbox, there's 7 deletions of emails of my frustration. I'm calling Jared. I'm driving to the office last weekend, and I'm like, Jared, I'm so freaking angry because I wanted to look at these. I wanted to read these rules today, and I wanted to see what we need to be teed up on, and just
he was gassed up.
Oh God, so angry, so freaking angry. So, and we tweeted last week how we are going to be betting against Christian Hackenberg until further notice, and betting against Mike Singletary, but they're at home and they're getting 12, and it just seems insulting this weekend. I don't know what to do. My mind's in a pretzel because I want to bet against Singletary and Hackenberg because it's such the duo to bet against in this league. But 12 points is so many points.
Getting 12 at home. Are they playing that? Where do they play? Liberty Bowl, probably?
Probably.
Yeah, I can't think of any other stadium in Memphis, but
Walking in Memphis.
Yeah, I mean, woof. That's
so many points.
See, that's for me. That's you just fade or it's not. It's no play, or maybe you take the under. What's the total? 40 something.
The total's 47.5.
Yeah, I probably just would take the under.
So
I mean, they're just not going to score.
That's the thing. Like last weekend, we were talking about betting unders after we saw the first couple of games, and it worked in Birmingham. It didn't work in the Hot Shots game. I just had a bad feeling about that one, but I just had to back it up on the under because
you can't bet under on a team that's name is Hot Shots. I mean, come on.
You know what? As soon as I saw him play, I was like, "Oh man, they're actually pushing the ball downfield." I'm like, every other numbskull in this league that's going to throw dump passes. Just,
I think that's the optimal strategy, which we already discussed. I mean, you didn't see it, Scott. Spurrier threw like what amounted to a Hail Mary on the first play of the game. Like I'm telling you, that guy wants to score 100 in every game.
I'll tell you, when the Hot Shots play the Apollos, it's going to be like 60-50.
Yeah, that'll be an over game.
Because those guys are going to go nuts against each other. I mean, just looking at these spreads this weekend, the Apollos are laying 6 at San Antonio. I think you can feel pretty comfortable about laying the 6 again.
I mean, I'm with you there. I'll probably be on them mainly because I know we'll get that game on television, and I'm not afraid to lay a number because I know Spurrier is going to just want to keep scoring.
Salt Lake is getting 7 against Birmingham, and I love my Birmingham Iron. I'm all in for John, but Salt Lake didn't look too bad against Arizona. I don't think Birmingham. Yeah, for John. That's their hashtag, bro. For John. Do you think I'm not going to get down to Birmingham one of these days? One thing I can tell you pretty confidently
is you're not getting down to Birmingham.
I'm pretty confident I'll be at the AAF championship in Vegas in April.
Ooh.
I'm thinking about it. It feels so juicy, but Jared's baby comes early.
I was going to say I will not be there. That's the no-fly zone for Jared.
That's
maybe a one-day or out and back same day. I don't know. I don't think Haley listens to the podcast, so we're probably okay.
I think I'm going to be all over Salt Lake getting 7 this weekend.
I would agree. That's the most interesting. I mean, so Scott lives this, obviously. Micah and I are in Florida, so we forget sometimes. Like, it's the middle of February in Salt Lake City. It's going to be cold, freezing cold. And I don't think a lot of these Bama boys, based on what I've seen on the roster, are too accustomed to that. So it's an interesting angle to play. Now, I don't know where I haven't looked at the Salt Lake roster, so I don't know where they're all from. But that could be an interesting angle. When Salt Lake has these home games, to what effect is that home field advantage? Maybe more so than the average team that we just talked about.
The Hot Shots are laying 12 and the over-under is 47.5. Memphis doesn't look like they can score. It feels weird to lay 12, but that under feels about right.
Yeah, I would agree.
Memphis couldn't score last week. I don't know how they're going to score this week.
I just don't think they're going to score. Hackenberg sucks.
Hackenberg's
Singletary,
awful.
terrible.
How's Mettenberg not getting a shot in there? I don't get it.
No idea.
Oh, Zach Mettenberg. The mustache. I mean, that guy.
That's another kid. He started at Georgia, Scott, and then he wound up at LSU. But
he started at Georgia. Got No, Jared. He and Aaron Murray were in the same recruiting class, and that 6-foot guy from Georgia beat out Zach Mettenberger, who went to LSU then.
Yes.
He played for the Chiefs, too. Aaron Murray was on the Chiefs for a while.
Well, I was going to say played is a loose term there.
He played a little bit. He played about as much as Matt Castle did.
The 4th preseason game?
Yeah. I was going to say, I got some, played the second half of what's the real game? Like the quote-unquote dress rehearsal? 3rd game?
Yeah.
The 3rd game, yeah.
Yeah, so Aaron Murray, probably played the second half of the 4th preseason game.
I'm getting fired up because I started reading draft boards and they're saying it's a big tight end class this year. So the Pats need to get a drafted tight end and kind of juiced up. And then Kyler Murray, is he going to be a bust or is he going to be a stud in the pros?
No, bust.
Bust. Really?
He's listed at 5'9".
Oh, I know. He's tiny. He's a little
He's
guy.
Doug Flutie, but worse.
No, okay, so he's listed at 5'9", which means he's probably 5'7" and change. Right? Is that fair?
Yep.
Maybe 5'8". Everyone's like, oh, he's Russell Wilson, he's Drew Brees. I'm like, no. Those guys are short, but they're 6 feet tall.
And they're like jacked.
Yeah, I just don't I don't see the size thing working out. I just think he's too small. He's not going to be able to see the throwing lanes. I do think he has a little bit of the Mahomes baseball background, arm angles, can kind of sling it from anywhere, but I don't know how he's going to function in the pocket.
That's going to be the new draft thing. Well, he played baseball, so he's got a strong arm and he can throw immediately. If he plays baseball, he's Pat Mahomes now. If it's that, and then it's like they're just stroking it because this guy from New Hampshire Tech comes in who's 6'8" and can throw a football sitting on a watermelon in a river 80 yards. Like, it's just unbelievable, this stuff. This guy sitting on his knees can throw a football 80 yards. Well, thanks, Mel Kiper. Tell me when you actually see a QB do that in a game.
Jamarcus Russell.
Ugh. Which actually, okay, let's be honest here. How great, because I'm gonna ask this question. And I was gonna say, who's one player you wish you would see play in the AAF? And mine is 110% Jamarcus Russell. Need to see him in this league. Need it.
Where is he?
Exactly.
Dude, he doesn't give a shit.
That's why I need him out there. I want a guy who doesn't care, just slinging the rock.
He'd be just as bad in the AAF as he was in the NFL because he just doesn't care.
That story when he was on the Raiders, that they didn't think he was watching game tape. So one time they gave him blank tapes. And he's like, oh, yeah, I read the defenses. It looks good. The next day when he came into work. Blank tapes. And he got, what, $40 million?
Yeah.
Wild.
I think there's more than that.
I bet it's
guaranteed, too. Yeah.
And he's sipping on that perp, dude. That perp drink.
Yeah. He's
all
over the perp.
But I don't think he can because he's under contract in the CFL. But I'd love to see Manziel in this league.
Ooh.
Give it a lot of juice. He'd be a show to have in the AAF, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say my angle is also put for some seats. Micah, how many you think they'd fill the bounce house if sweet little baby Jesus Tim Tebow was the quarterback of the Orlando Apollos?
That's really what made me think of this question, was because Timmy T was all over the headline saying he was sticking with baseball.
I was gonna say also under contract to play baseball, Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
Scott, I kid you not, that stadium will be sold out every weekend, every game.
All the tickets will be bought now.
Quarterback.
Everyone around here was waiting for one Spurrier named head coach, so you had a bunch of blue and orange erect people, and if Sweet Baby Jesus, or if he hadn't been recently convicted for molesting women, Chris Leak, the tightest spiral ever in the history of football, those would have been phenomenal pickups for the Orlando Apollos. But
I think since like the AAF is more, they keep pitching as developmental league and the contracts are set and no one can really get a ton of money. I don't think you'll see that. But in the XFL, I don't think they're going to have a standard, and I could be wrong, but I don't think they're going to have a standardized contract for everyone and everyone gets paid the same. And they'll go out and they'll try to get Tim Tebow into the league for like 10 mil to put butts in the seats. And I was that you want to talk about drafted emails? I had all these drafted emails to XFL about like everything that the AAF did wrong this weekend and what not to repeat, because I was just so freaking angry about so many things about the AAF this weekend. But I just deleted them all. I was just like, I just had to go back and just calm myself down.
Do we know where the XFL teams are going to be yet?
Yeah. Oh, so Bob Stoops is going to be head coach and GM of the Dallas team. Mm-hmm. There's one in New York. They're going to play at MetLife.
Wow.
Wow. Jeez.
They have all the cities announced. I forget, but I just know that there's one locally, and I'll probably be going to some of those games.
So XFL is like larger markets, Dallas, New York.
Yeah.
Because if you look at AAF, I mean, it's San Antonio, Orlando, Memphis, like much, much smaller markets.
They went local. And I'm pretty sure all the XFL teams are going to be playing in pro stadiums.
Okay.
I think there's actually
they're
a team
swinging for the fences.
I'm pretty sure there's a team in Tampa.
Well, we might have to make a trip.
I know Orlando is trying because they could have played in the Citrus Bowl or whatever, Camping World Stadium. But
if they put an XFL team in Tampa, they could probably beat the NFL team in Tampa.
So they're going to have Dallas, Houston, LA, New York, Seattle, Tampa, Washington,
wow,
and St. Louis.
But only one Florida team.
Yeah, and Tampa is the rain.
Yeah, that's where the Bucks play.
So I'll be all in on that. All in.
Yeah, that'll be good. All right, so do we have any plays? That's the other people we've bet on. We've bet on Action App to get AAF in their thing.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like these guys should be on, DraftKings. There was no daily. No daily fantasy. How has the AAF not contacted DraftKings and FanDuel get daily fantasy going? Because these new markets, it's so inefficient.
They got DraftKings for esports. Let's go.
Give me a break. I'm going to be all in on Salt Lake this weekend against Birmingham. I think it's just too many points. Salt Lake didn't look that bad.
So we like Salt Lake. We like Memphis under early.
We like Salt Lake and Memphis under, even though the hot shots are going to fucking blow the doors off with that one. And I think we like Orlando at San Antonio minus the 6.
Yep.
And I think I take. I don't know. I didn't watch Atlanta, so I can't. But San Diego looked awful. For them to lay 10 is kind of ridiculous and just feels so pukey.
So I was gonna say you're gonna have to watch some tape of Atlanta because they are pukey.
Bad. Yeah, if it's that bad, I just
let him marinate one more week.
What's the Orlando? What's the spread in line on that one?
So 6. Orlando's laying 6, and it's 44.5.
44. This is my rule here. As long as the old ball coach is standing on a sideline, I will never, ever in my life take it under as long as he's on the field. That guy is just going to sling literally once every drive to be one play.
That's what he's famous for. Like, he told his quarterbacks at Florida, look for the touchdown, go to the check down. Like, that's Tom Brady's had a ton of success doing that. Yeah, he's like, literally, if you can hit the touchdown, throw it. Otherwise, like, check it down, right? Like, if you look at all of his plays, the route trees are exactly that. 2, like, if it's 4 wide, it's like 2 home run hits, attempts, and then 2, out in the flat guys. Crazy.
Do we miss the kickoff?
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all. I like that they have to go for 2 every time, too.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
This is another thing, another really goofy rule. I'm sorry, it just gets me fired. You can only go for the onside play of 4th, and somehow now it's 4th and 12 from the 35. If you're down by 17, or it's the last 2 minutes. How freaking stupid is that? What if it's a 10-point game and there's 2:05 left? You can't go for the onside play? So you have to run the clock down. See, that's what I was talking about last week with all the rules, and you know all the intricacies of these rules. Because then you have to run the clock down to sub 2 minutes, score your touchdown, and then so you can get the onside play. It's just ridiculous. You should be able to onside play whenever you want.
Yeah, exactly. If it's onside play whenever you want. Here are the rules for the we obviously don't have a kick, so this is what the onside would be, but you can do it whenever you want.
I can't.
Or even if they just said anytime in like the 4th quarter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the last 2 minutes is stupid.
My thing is why not? Just if they want to do an onside kick and go out there in the first quarter and do that, because I bet my bottom dollar Spurrier would try it.
Yeah.
Do it.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And that's why that Hot Shots Apollo's game would be off the chain if they allowed them to do it, because they'd go for it every time probably. It'd be wild. It'd be like 60-70, and every fan would be just juiced up. No one's getting juiced up over 15-6 near the developmental.
Or 23 or 23-0.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
So
I want to see some points.
So we're at the 35-minute mark here. So I'm gonna wrap it up with one final question. Favorite moment from the weekend? Favorite highlight?
Oh, that guy who popped at the quarterback and his helmet flew off. That was wild. And that guy was a beast all game. Like, that guy's going to the NFL this next year because he was a stud the whole game. Or maybe it was because the San Diego Fleet defensive line or offensive line was just awful. But he looked good. Sean Alexander or Sean Williams, something like that.
Sean Alexander was for the Seahawks.
Yeah. But this Sean was spelled Shaan.
Yeah, I think Williams.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it Sean Williams?
Yeah,
he was a stud. Yeah, Sean Alexander, 37, Seattle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and University of Alabama. We don't like him.
He was Bama?
Yeah. My favorite moment from the weekend was actually the live review. So there was a touchdown catch in the Orlando game that was ruled incomplete, but it looked like he might have caught it. So they actually had a camera and the audio of the review person in the booth. So it was like a camera angle like you see from like the offensive coordinator, kind of like up on the bottom, and you're seeing the person and hearing the person talk through like all the different camera angles and and she made the decision like super fast, which is, I don't know. I thought that was odd, and I don't know how much their desired duration of the games had to do with any of that. But I thought it was fascinating because at first she's like, "Yeah, we're gonna this is gonna be upheld. This is gonna be upheld. We're going with upheld. It's gonna be no catch." And then she was like, "Oh, wait. He has it there. There's a neat real time, the different angles and kind of how they talk through that process." So way less sophisticated than I probably would have thought. And then 1A would be having Spurrier mic'd up because, there's just fandom there for me, and he's like just crazy old guy, but he can't walk, dude.
No,
oh,
he
right.
can't.
Yeah,
The clip of him telling him to catch the ball was awesome, though.
Yeah. Because did you see what happened or no?
No, I didn't see it.
Okay, so they ran the play, and it was like one of those little pop passes, and the wide receiver dude dropped it, and then they ran it again on the same drive for a touchdown, and Spurrier's like calling in the play. He's like, "And tell him to catch it this time." and he caught it and scored. He caught it and scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
But that was fun.
Well, you saw it.
Yeah. Well, I guess we just gonna go out there and chuck it around, see what we do.
Scott, there was a stretch of time when Jadeveon Clowney was playing for Spurrier at South Carolina, and Spurrier just one day, I think it was a Monday practice, and they're in Mondays is normally walkthroughs in college, like you're just in helmets, and he's like, "Well, Jadeveon's no longer part of the team," and the best player in college football,
the best player, not even close.
He's like, "Yeah, he's not on the team anymore." And then Wednesday, he's like, "Well, Jadeveon's back on the team. He figured some things out. He talked to the team. He's got his head in the right place." Spurrier, the guy, is just a beautiful mind. It's one of those brains that you want to dissect when he dies, just to see why he was so awesome. But I think my favorite part was when Orlando busted out the old Philly special for a touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was cool. Great. But I got one more follow-up question, and then I'll end it, I promise. So much like the XFL brought Skycam to the NFL, and do you think that there's anything that the NFL can take from the AAF this weekend?
You want me to kick it off?
Yeah, Jared, you kick it off.
Speaking of kicking it off, I think eventually the NFL will get rid of the kickoff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, how long that takes, I don't know, but just with all the data coming out and the potential for lawsuits, and that's the highest velocity collisions that happen. I think eventually, I agree with you guys. I think this will be a testing ground for a lot of things that the NFL is thinking or considering or wanting to do, and they want to see what the blowback is, if any. I don't miss it. I know you guys said you don't miss it. My guess is most people don't miss it, and I think ultimately the NFL winds up adopting that.
I hope that they adopt the onside play without all the BS that you can only run it, X amount of times. But I think it should be like a 4th and 15 because the current onside kick is a joke. You can't. The current kickoff rules. There's no way you're going to recover an onside kick.
Correct.
So, they should make it a 4th.
I was going to say, did you see the statistics from this year in the NFL?
It was 5%, right? 5%.
I think it was. I think it was less than that. But yeah, like nothing. Basically, it's pointless to even have unless somebody on the receiving team completely blows an assignment and or just drops the ball. It doesn't. The kicking team never recovers it.
I mean, you saw it in the Seattle playoff game. I mean, it wasn't even close. It wasn't even an onside kick. It was a joke.
Well, because Janikowski was dead.
Yeah. But still, I mean,
I'm still convinced that cost us money.
Didn't cost me money. Ew.
Yeah.
It actually won me money by him
Salt
being
in the
injured.
wound. Don't choose.
Too soon. You're going for it.
Too soon.
Hey, I wasn't the one who got all the money while he was out there. Okay, you guys both collected a fat check. I didn't. So how about you let the little man go 3-1 instead of 2-2?
All right.
Yeah. So
who's this guy? He's the producer.
Yeah. He's like, oh, okay.
But who are you? That was the best. Like, I was shocked at how blunt people were. Like, what are you doing here? Why do you have on the same shirt as them? Who are you?
Why do you like the Seahawks?
Dude, I can't find my Seahawks shirt. I don't know where it is.
Uh-oh.
I'm very sadsies about it.
Somewhere in Las Vegas. Deep in the abyss.
I don't know.
I wear mine when I go outside at nighttime because it's so bright.
Micah goes for like evening jog, wears his translucent Seahawks shirt.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, that shirt would be perfect for 5 a.m. run when I'm trying to, shed some spring weight.
Yeah. So here's the question, though. Last serious thing. If they get rid of kickoffs, they get rid of onside kicks, do they just go for the trifecta and do 2-point, have to go for 2 every time?
No, absolutely not. I like what they do.
I disagree.
Point because, they do miss it. People do miss it.
I like the extra point now. I think it was stupid. I think if they still had the old rule of, where it's just a formality, I could see that. But I think now, to Scott's point, there's enough variability and intrigue that they'll just keep that.
Checks out. I mean, because that's what I was going to say. So say you go to the 2-point conversion. Being a kicker in the NFL would literally be the greatest job ever. You literally only go out there maybe once or twice a game.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
So to be only usurped by relief pitchers in baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what have you been doing all week? Chewing sunflower seeds?
Putting on a jersey, sitting in a bullpen, laughing.
Maybe they'll send me in tonight. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Maybe I'll actually get like the phone call and I'll warm up a little bit, but still not get called out there.
Yeah. The decoy, put the lefty up just to make him think that we're bringing him in.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Phenomenal.
That was good. So another weekend of AAF, folks. Download the app; it's worth it. It's good.
Yeah, I will say that Jared is correct on that. The app was very, very cool with having the helmets and the actual play happen versus like the ESPN app where it's like, 10-yard play, and you're just like, I don't know how any of this happened.
Yeah.
But with that though. I'm Michael Larson. That's Jared Larson. That's Scott Panza. We are Pigskin Junkies. Thank you so much for listening in. Please subscribe, rate, review the podcast. Follow on Twitter at pigskin_junkies. Love to hear from you and your thoughts on the AAF and how you're going to be betting this moving forward. It's great to see the community coming around this sport. Degenerates, we are one. Thank you so much.
See ya.